The year's 2002, and WorldCom has now just filed for bankruptcy, being the largest company in the United States history to file for bankruptcy. We're going to start off by talking about their five forces. And so rivalry against existing firms, that's going to be mostly like AT&T and Sprint and Verizon. And their acquisition strategy was just to take over all of the little guys. Their threat of new entrances is they had significant barriers as an entrance for baseline just economies of scale and the amount of capital that they've been able to invest in the past few years. Nobody can really keep up with what they're doing.
As far as the threat of substitutes go, back then there was a minimal threat of technological advancements that would render landlines obsolete, including mobile phones. When it came to the bargaining power, suppliers didn't hold too much sway over WorldCom because they could typically source from multiple vendors. Most suppliers, after all, were technology and infrastructure providers. But a key revenue source were their customers' corporate clients, who were often locked into long-term contracts. Residential customers could be a little more flexible with it. But as far as their comparative advantage went, their cost leadership, they sought to dominate the long-distance phone and data transmission markets pursued through very aggressive mergers and acquisitions with larger firms, as previously mentioned. And it was able to differentiate them so much because they had so much that was already established from their infrastructure and operations of other acquired firms. Inheritance.
In 1983, two men by the names of Murray Waldron and William Recton started long-distance discount services. By 1985, Bernie Ebbers became the CEO, and through many acquisitions that he started, WorldCom became one of the biggest telecom companies within a decade. 1995, they changed their name to WorldCom. 1996, they started doing major acquisitions, which contained MFS Communications. By 1998, they had done their largest one to date, which was MCI. And in 2001, they did their largest one known of the entire company, which was Intermedia. And this was at the peak of the telecom boom, where WorldCom had been valued at $180 billion. So how did all of this happen?
Hey there, how's my favorite CEO doing, boss?
Hey, how's Casual Friday going?
It's going pretty good, man. I'm liking it a lot. Like the new shorts today. They're kind of stained, but it's okay.
I look, Verizon's on my ass. They're all over the company.
Yeah.
You gotta give me some good news here, boss.
Yeah, nah. I can't really do that right
What you mean, nah?
So turns out, all those mergers we've been doing, that's actually not sustainable. Like there's kind of a finite amount of companies we can
We
pick
had
up.
spray it in the palm of our hands.
Yeah, so SEC said no to that. Unfortunately, we kind of get boned on that. So, but I was thinking something else that's kind of a little different, a little interesting. Right?
All right.
So
I'm listening.
our margins kind of suck right now because we have a ton of line expenses that aren't really generating any revenue. Right? Which is not suboptimal. We don't like that. That's whack. It makes me sad.
Mm-hmm.
It's also kind of scary. I don't like that word. So I thought, what if we change this word, instead of being a line expense, to a prepaid expense? It's not lying, it's just reclassifying it. It's a great concept. And we're going to call it prepaid capacity. It's going to be an asset in our book instead of expenses, dude. It's going to boost margins. I know you have a lot of investment in that stock, so it's going to help your overall turnaround.
I'll be honest, we cannot show this many expenses. Those margin calls are gonna screw me.
Yeah, so we're going to fix that up for you. We only just got to run it by some of the lower guys so we can do it well.
Scott, you might be a damn genius.
Yeah.
Honestly, I think you're cooking with this one. I'm being real.
Let's go talk to the guys downstairs and see what they think. I think we got something going on. Hey, bud, how we doing?
How's my favorite
Let's talk.
accountant doing?
Good to
Fred,
see you.
Fred, right?
Jason.
That's awesome, Frank. Listen, we got something to run by you.
So these line expenses really cost us right now. So what if instead we just said there were prepaid assets called prepaid capacity, basically? You know, it would really help our margins out. I think it's a totally great way to help this company out.
Think of it this way. We have all these expenses. We really need to make profits this quarter.
And they're going to make us profits anyway.
Exactly. These are helping us to the capacity to help our customers.
There's nowhere in Gap where you could do this, though. I mean, like...
Well, so we went actually downstairs and we found this white paper that we made and just said...
Don't look too close.
We'll take care of this. But it says in here that we can do this.
It's a white paper. It has no authoritative guidance.
It has absolutely authoritative guidance.
Here's a better question. Do you like your job?
I've been working here for 7 years. I like it very much.
Do you want to keep that job? Get typing.
I'd make the entry.
Yeah, I'd make the entry, bud. Dude, how could this go wrong?
This is awesome!
How did this go so wrong?
In June of 2002, Cynthia Cooper and her team sniffed out the suspicious activities Bernie Ebbers and Scott Sullivan were up to. There were many things Cynthia was concerned about, but through our research we found that these three were big players in Cynthia speaking out. In a meeting with fellow internal auditors, she brought up the prepaid capacity accounts she saw and mentioned that she had never even heard of such a thing. After asking about them at the meeting, she found that many auditors also had no idea what the account was, but since higher-ups had told them to make the entries, they were too nervous to question anyone and went along with it. These prepaid capacity accounts were just covers for Bernie and Scott to incorrectly capitalize expenses that were related to investments. Cynthia also noted several reversals of reserve accounts like bad debt that she tried to track down to see why they were made. They caught her eye because she deemed them to be far too large and thought they were just very poor judgment. But as she tried to reconcile, the numbers just bounced her around T accounts and never matched up. Lastly, Cynthia was told directly by Scott to delay an audit coming up. When she asked why, Scott could not give an answer that calmed her mind. This is when she started to dig. In this chart, you can see just how egregious the inflation was in the first quarter of 2002. Net income attributable to common stockholders was originally reported as $130 million and restated as negative $455 million. Income from continuing operations was originally reported as $172 million, then restated as negative $240 million. Lastly, operating income was reported as $843 million, then restated as $18 million. You can see the light gray bar indicates their fraudulent financials and the orange bar is what they truly should have been. Just some more numbers to show how far Bernie and Scott took their greed. When their financials were restated, their net income for 2000 was reduced by a little over $17 billion, and in 2001 it was reduced by a little over $53 billion. Then shareholders' equity in 2000 was reduced by closer to $54 billion, and in 2001 reduced by a staggering $708 billion. And these are all billion with a big fat B, by the way. Now let's cut back to Cynthia and her team to see that action-packed accounting.
1 in the morning.
You want to order pizza in tonight?
Yeah.
Hey, thank you for meeting with us today. We just wanted to bring up some things about the
I'm terribly sorry.
unauthorized-
I have to stop you right there. I did agree to meet with you, but unfortunately Arthur Anderson has been let go. We are no longer working on the external audit for this and has been sent to KPMG. Hello, I'm KPMG. Pleasure to meet you.
Well,
So what do you
I'm
all have
glad that we could meet with you today. We wanted to talk about some things that were brought up in Cynthia's internal audit regarding the prepaid expenses account.
The prepaid capacity account, yes?
Yes.
What comprised that account?
So in our internal audit, we found some suspicious things that we thought that maybe we could go over.
Oh, hey, what's up, Sarah? How we doing?
Cynthia,
Okay, whatever. Keep going.
what did you need me for?
Yeah, so I noticed that you were looking into some reversals of allowances things. Don't do that. Just first of all, we're conservative with like every other account, so it's not going to be really that big of a deal. So how about you just like not do that and like I said, money's up right now, so we got to focus on that. So like let's keep our heads down and just not worry about that right now.
But I talked to Arthur Anderson and they said it would be.
Oh, you're a yapper? Okay, yeah. Well, here's an interesting development. What if your boss was gone and I stopped promoting everyone on your team?
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Yeah.
How about that? So how about you go to that door and you think about that, and we'll just pretend the conversation never happened. Is that cool? Great. Love.
Right,
Please
Scotty.
leave.
Right.
Bye, Sarah.
Cynthia.
I don't care.
So following the largest acquisition from Intermedia in 2001, where the company was valued at $180 billion, they had a lot of strange things happen that shouldn't be happening to a company valued as high, like job cuts and credit ranking downgrades. In 2002, the stock price falls from $65 to $2.65, and immediately after, Ebers resigns from WorldCom. 10 days after he resigns, the debt rating turns to junk. Ebers starts selling his stock, and instead of WorldCom allowing that to keep happening, they just give him the money so that he can pay off all of his loans. In June 2002, the SEC finds out and makes WorldCom come out publicly of the false accounting that's been kept. Within a day, the stock prices fell to 9 cents, and Sullivan was fired along with the controller. The new CEO, John Sedgment, was put in place in order to apologize to investors. On July 21st, 2002, WorldCom files for bankruptcy.
After the ensuing trial, Ebers was found guilty of fraud, conspiracy, and sentenced to 25 years in prison. The CFO, Sullivan, was given 5 years reduced sentence after he testified against Ebers in court.